now we have discussed some laboratory tests on cement. One was compression strength or compressive strength of cement. We were preparing standard cubes. What was the size of cube for compression test? A cube having a side of 7.06 centimeter and area of the cube should be 50 centimeter square. We have prepared such cubes, and the cube was prepared using a mortar of cement and standard sand. What was the proportion of mortar? 1:3. So you had prepared a cement sand mortar in 1:3 proportion, and you have filled it in the cube mold. What was the size of cube mold? 7.06 centimeter, and area of the cube should be 50 centimeter square. So such cubes were subjected to compression loading, and the load at which such cubes were breaking was determined, and the breaking load was divided by the area of cross section. So you got the compression strength. That is about the compressive strength of cement. Afterwards, we discuss the fineness of cement. For determining the fineness of cement, I already told you that there are different standard sieves according to Indian standard. So here, for determining the fineness of cement, you are using a 90 micron sieve. A 90 micron sieve was used, and the cement was sieved through this IS 90 micron sieve, right? So once the sieving was done, you are observing the residue obtained after sieving. This is how you determine the fineness of cement. If W2 is the weight of residue remaining in the sieve and W1 is the weight of cement taken for the test, you can determine the fineness value in percentage. Then you had 3 tests. Test for standard consistency, initial setting time, and final setting time. These 3 tests had one thing in common. What was the common feature for all these 3 tests? These 3 tests were determined or was conducted in a single apparatus. What is the name of that single apparatus in which you were conducting these 3 tests? The Vickett apparatus. If you remember our last class, the Vickett apparatus consists of a Vickett mold, and the mold is placed on a glass plate. What do you mean by standard consistency? I told you that we are measuring the standard consistency and initial and final setting time in a Vickett apparatus. So standard consistency is a measure of the water content required. Okay, whenever you hear the term consistency, you should understand that it is a measure of the water content present. So in standard consistency, what you are doing is you are assuming a value for standard consistency. Say you are assuming that 28% is the standard consistency, and you are mixing cement with that particular amount of water. You will be filling it in the mold of the Vickett apparatus, and how much is the water content required for the needle of 1 mm area, 1 mm cross sectional area, to penetrate into the test sample at a distance of 5 to 7 millimeter from the top of the mold. That water content you refer as the standard consistency. Once you determine the standard consistency, you are taking 0.78 times of standard consistency. You will be taking water content and you will be filling it in the Vickett mold. Now you are allowing the needle to penetrate, and you will be determining the time period from the instant water is added to make a cement paste, and the needle will be penetrating 5 to 7 millimeter from the top. That time period you call as the initial setting time. And you had one more test, that is the final setting time. We have already discussed these things. So in final setting time, you will be removing the needle, and instead of the needle you will be fixing a annular attachment. So what is the time required, time period between the instant water is added? You are adding water, okay, water into the cement paste, and the annular needle will fail to make an impression on the test specimen surface. That time period you call as the final setting time. So this is the initial and final setting time, and these are the tests which we have already discussed. Now let us see more tests on cement. Another important test on cement which we have to discuss. Another important test which we have to discuss on cement is the soundness test. So when we were discussing the constituents of cement, when in our first or second class on this module, we were discussing about the constituents in cement. At that point, I told you that the cement should not be having very high soundness. Soundness means, what do you mean by soundness? There is a chance of change in volume of cement. Okay, so this change in volume should not be happening after one particular limit, or there is certain threshold of change in volume. Are you understanding? So soundness refers to the change in volume. Now let us see how we will be determining the soundness of a cement. For determining the soundness of cement, we have one apparatus known as the Le-Chatelier apparatus. So cement after setting, okay, once the cement is set, the cement should not undergo appreciable change of volume. In some cements, we have seen that they will be undergoing very large expansion. Okay, very large expansion after setting, which will be leading to the disruption of the set and hardened cement. So this expansion or volume change will be causing a lot of durability problems to the cement. Now, what is the cause of this unsoundness? When will you say that the cement is unsound? If the presence of lime, okay, if the presence of free lime is 2x, okay, if the presence of free lime, I told you that lime is the most important ingredient in cement. If the presence of lime is very excess in cement, there is a chance that the cement may become unsound. So that is not appreciable. Now, the apparatus required is known as the Le-Chatelier apparatus. This is the diagram showing the Le-Chatelier apparatus. Now, what is happening within this Le-Chatelier apparatus? Let us see. A Le-Chatelier apparatus, here is the figure, okay, this is the plan view and this is the section view. This consists of a small split cylinder of 0.5 millimeter thickness forming a mold of 30 mm internal diameter and 30 mm height. 30 mm is the internal diameter, 30 mm is the height, and 0.5 millimeter is the thickness. Now, on two sides of the split, okay, we have a split mold, and on two sides of the split mold, we are having two indicators. We will be placing, this is the split cylinder. This split cylinder will be placed between two glass plates, and the temperature will be maintained at 27 plus or minus 20 degrees centigrade. So this is the figure showing a Le-Chatelier apparatus. Now let us see in detail what is the procedure. So place the lightly oiled mold on a lightly oiled glass sheet. I told you that the Le-Chatelier apparatus mold, there is one split mold. This split mold will be placed in between glass plates. So first of all, what you have to do is the glass plates should be properly oiled, and also the split mold should be oiled. So first of all, the glass plate and the mold should be properly oiled. Then you are making a cement paste. The cement paste is made with 0.78 P water content, where P means, when we were discussing standard consistency, I told you that it's a measure of water content. So 0.78 times of water required for standard consistency of cement. Cement plus 0.78 P water content you are mixing together to form a cement paste. Now, okay, cover the mold with another piece of lightly oiled glass sheet. So the glass mold, the split mold is placed in between two oiled glass sheets. And once the cement paste is made and it is sandwiched between two oiled glass plates, this is immediately submerged in water. Water maintained at 27 plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade. At this temperature, you are maintaining water and the entire assembly is submerged in water for a time period of 24 hours. Now, there are two indicator points, okay? Here you can see that the indicator points, between the two indicator points, you measure what is the distance. After the distance between two indicator points is measured, you are again submerging the mold in water. Now, after submerging in water, what you are doing is you have to boil. You have to boil the water with the mold as kept submerged. For 25 to 30 minutes, you are continuing the boiling operation. And after a time period of say 3 hours, you are removing the mold from water. Once the mold is removed from the hot water, it is allowed to cool. And again, you are measuring the distance between the indicator points. So now you have two measurements. One measurement was after you submerged in water without bringing the water to boiling. And second measurement, here you have submerged it and you have boiled the water. So in these two readings, you will be having some value for distance between the indicator points. Note down that value, okay? Note down that value of distance, difference in distance between the indicator points. So this difference in the distance between indicator points, this will give you an idea of the expansion of cement. How much expansion has occurred for cement, that will be known to you. Now, soundness or expansion of cement is given as, soundness or expansion of cement is equal to L1 minus L2. L1 is the measurement taken after 24 hours of immersion in water, and L2 is the measurement taken after 3 hours of immersion in water. Now, the mean will be determined after several trials. This is how you determine the soundness of cement. Did you understand what is meant by soundness of cement? What do you mean by soundness?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the apparatus used for determining soundness is known as the Le-Chatelier apparatus. I have shown you what is the apparatus. It is a split mold. The split mold will be oil and it is placed between two glass plates. So in order to determine the soundness of cement, first of all, you have to determine the standard consistency. So this test of standard consistency is very much needed. Even if you are going for determining the initial and final setting time, you should know the standard consistency value. For compression strength, you will be gauging the cement with 0.85 P of water, where P, 0.85 P, where P is the sorry, there was a connection problem. So in order to determine the compression strength also, you have to determine the standard consistency. So before preparing the cement paste, it should be added with a water content of 0.85 P. Similarly, in soundness test, you require a water content of 0.78 P, where P is the standard consistency. So cement paste is prepared. It is kept in the split mold sandwich between the two glass plates. It is kept immersed in water for 24 hours and you will be measuring the distance. Afterwards, you will be boiling the water for 3 hours. Okay. Within 25 to 30 minutes, water will start boiling and you are keeping it in boiling condition for 3 hours. And after boiling, again, you will be measuring the distance between indicator points. This will give you an idea on the soundness value of cement. Now, I told you how to determine the compression strength of cement. There is one more strength test to be conducted on cement. What is the other strength test of cement? Or you have to determine how much is the tensile strength of cement. The tensile strength of cement is also a very important parameter. Now, how you can determine the tensile strength of cement? Let us see. So tensile strength of cement, you are determining the tensile strength of cement to have a indirect indication of the compressive strength of cement. The procedure for determining the tensile strength of cement is as follows. You are preparing a 1:3 mix of cement and sand, which means that if you are taking X gram of cement, you are preparing a mix of 1:3 of cement and sand, which means that if you are taking one part of cement, 3 part of sand should be taken. So a 1:3 mix of cement sand is taken. This 1:3 we have seen in case of determination of compressive strength also. In the determination of compressive strength, you were casting cement cubes in the proportion, in the same proportion, in 1:3 proportion itself. You have casted the cube for compression test. Here also you will be preparing the mix in 1:3 proportion. Now you will be adding a water content of 5% weight of cement and sand, and this water will be added to the mortar. Now you have a briquette mold. This is the briquette mold, and you will be placing the mortar within the briquette mold. So this will be the plan of the briquette mold, and this is the elevation. Now the briquettes will be kept in damp cabin for 24 hours. For a time period of 24 hours, you are keeping the briquette in a wet condition. Now after 24 hours, you are removing the briquette from the mold. Okay, you have already filled the cement paste in the mold and you are maintaining it in a damp condition for 24 hours. After the time period of 24 hours, what you are doing? You will be removing the briquette from the mold. And after the briquette is removed from the mold, you will be submerging the briquette in clean water for curing. Now, once the briquette is provided with sufficient curing, once the briquette is placed in clean water for the specified time period, you will be taking the briquette into the testing machine and you will be testing the briquette for tension. Okay, you will be testing the briquette for tension for 3 to 7 days. 3 to 7 days. And the same test will be repeated for 6 number of briquettes, and you will be determining the load at which the briquette will be breaking. So the ultimate tensile strength is equal to failing load. What is the load at which the briquette of cement will be failing, divided by the area or least sectional area of briquette. This will give you an idea of the tensile strength of cement. So tensile strength and compression strength is having certain similarities. First similarity is in the amount of or in the mixed proportion. Both are prepared, both samples are prepared with a mixed proportion of 1:3. In compression test, you will be applying the compressive load and you will be determining the load at which failure is occurring divided by the cross-sectional area. Whereas in tensile test, you will be prepared. Compression test will be done on concrete cubes, cement cubes. Here it will be on cement briquettes. That is the difference. So with this, we are completing the tests for cement. So we have studied a large number of tests for cement. What were the different tests we have studied on cement? Fineness test, soundness test, determination of compressive strength, determination of tensile strength, initial setting time, and final setting time. Okay, remember all these tests, the procedure, how much is the water content required, what is the experimental, 1 minute, what is the experimental setup required. All these things should be clear. Is it clear? Yes. Okay, fine. I'm getting comments. It is clear. So next thing, we are moving to the next section. We have seen what is cement, what are the constituents of cement, how cement is manufactured, what are the different processes involved in the manufacturing of cement. I hope you remember all these things. Dry process, wet process. I hope you remember all those things. Now, what are the different types of cement? Cement will be available in a large variety. Okay, it's not like only one form of cement is available. Cement will be available in large varieties. So what are the different types of cements available? What are the different types of cement available? Let us see. Okay. So there are many varieties of cement available. The most commonly used cement is the OPC, ordinary Portland cement. Now, why there is a name? Why there is name of cement as ordinary Portland cement? I told you that in olden days, cement was manufactured by burning together after mixing calcareous and argillaceous stones. So the stones required for the manufacturing of cement was found in abundant in a place known as Portland. Okay, so that is why the stone was found in abundant in Portland. So Portland was a place where the cement manufacturing was done on a very large scale in olden days. That is why that particular cement is known as ordinary Portland cement. Nowadays, whatever cement you are buying, when you go to a cement shop and buy one bag of cement, you know how much is the cement present in one bag? 50 kilogram. So if you are buying 50 kilogram of cement used for construction, normal construction work, that cement is known as OPC, ordinary Portland cement. So first type of cement is the ordinary Portland cement. It is also called as basic Portland cement, and it is used in general concrete construction. Now, the manufacturing of OPC is already clear to you. I think I don't need to explain it again. You are having argillaceous and calcareous raw materials that will be powdered. It will be mixed in the correct proportion. It will be taken to the kiln. In kiln, the burning operations will be carried out. And once the burning is completed, you get a product known as the clinker, cement clinker. And into the cement clinker, you will be adding 3 to 4% of gypsum. What is the function of gypsum? To have a control on the setting time. Yes, to have a control on the setting time, you will be adding gypsum, right? This is how you manufactured ordinary Portland cement. Now, what are the other types of cement? There are 3 grades of ordinary Portland cement. 33 grade ordinary Portland cement, 43 grade ordinary Portland cement, and 53 grade ordinary Portland cement. These are the 3 grades of ordinary Portland cement. Now, the next kind of cement, ordinary Portland cement, is the most commonly used cement. It is also known as OPC, abbreviated as OPC. There is another type of cement known as the Portland Pozzolana cement, which is denoted as PPC. Now, the Portland Pozzolana cement you are preparing by grinding the cement clinker. Okay, we have already prepared the cement clinker by burning together after mixing calcareous and argillaceous raw materials. So into the clinker, you are adding some amount of pozzolana. Pozzolana means, or pozzolanic material means, there are certain materials which are not having any cementitious property. Cementitious property means, for the last 3-4 classes, we were continuously discussing about cement. So now you know that the cement will be in a finely powdered form. On reacting with water, okay, on reaction with water, cement will be forming a paste, and this paste can form a hard mass in course of time. So this is known as the cementitious property. On wetting, it will be hardening. That is the cementitious property. So pozzolanic material means there are certain materials. There are certain materials used for engineering purposes which are not having any cementitious property as such. Means it does not have any property of cementitious nature by its own, but it can be added with cementitious material so that the cementitious property will be improved. For example, fly ash. You might have heard about fly ash. Fly ash is a pozzolanic material. When you wet fly ash will not be showing any tendency to harden like a cement. That is why we say that fly ash is not having any cementitious property. But once fly ash is mixed with cement, it can show cementitious property. So in the ordinary Portland cement, you will be adding some pozzolanic material. Then you call it as a Portland Pozzolana cement. Now, a PPC cement is suitable for the following conditions. For marine structures like dams, piers, thick foundations, etc. For waterfront structures. For all these structures, a Portland Pozzolana cement is suitable. Now, there are certain advantages for the Portland Pozzolana cement. The production cost of Portland Pozzolana cement is cheaper because along with the clinker, you will be adding some pozzolanic material also, which is cheaply available. Next, this cement will reduce the permeability. What do you mean by permeability? Permeability means if a concrete structure is constructed that will be porous in nature, it means that it will be having large number of pores on its surface. And these porous substances will have a ability to transmit some fluids through its pore. So if Portland Pozzolana cement is used, if pozzolanic material is used in cement, we get a Portland Pozzolana cement. If a PPC is used, this will be reducing the permeability. So in case of hydraulic structures constructed near the coastal areas or within water, you can use this cement with greater advantage of reducing the permeability. Next one, it produces a very slow rate of heat of hydration. I already told you that hydration means reaction of cement with water. I told you that is an exothermic reaction. An exothermic reaction means there will be liberation of heat once cement is getting intimately mixed with water. Fine. So the heat of hydration can be reduced. Then the particle size of PPC is smaller than OPC. Then PPC mortar is having more volume than OPC mortar. Next kind of cement is the rapid hardening Portland cement. You are intimately mixing together calcareous and argillaceous materials. Now, the chemical composition of ordinary Portland cement and rapid hardening Portland cement is almost same. But the rapid hardening Portland cement will be more fine in nature. If the 24-hour strength of ordinary Portland cement, see, you are comparing after 24 hours how much is the strength obtained in a ordinary Portland cement and rapid hardened cement. We will see that the strength which the ordinary Portland cement gets in 24 hours will be equal to the, hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we will be comparing the strength of ordinary Portland cement. We will be comparing the strength of ordinary Portland cement and rapid hardening Portland cement. So rapid hardening means the hardening process will be happening very rapidly. It does not require much time for the hardening process to happen in case of a rapid hardening cement. So the same strength which an ordinary Portland cement will achieve in 3 days. You have mixed ordinary Portland cement sample with water, and after 3 days, how much is the strength obtained? The same strength will be achieved by a rapid hardening cement in a time period of just 1 day or 24 hours. So in some cases, you may know that what is meant by shuttering. If you are having a concrete work, you will be preparing a formwork for concrete, that is known as shuttering. So in some concrete works, it may be required that the shuttering should be removed at a very faster rate, or you need to remove the shutter early. So the early removing of shuttering will be possible if you are going for the use of rapid hardening cement instead of a ordinary Portland cement. Another cement is known as the extra rapid hardening cement. It is similar to rapid hardening cement, but some modification. Into the rapid hardening cement, you are mixing calcium chloride. Rapid hardening cement and calcium chloride is ground together for the preparation of a extra rapid hardening cement. But there are certain limitations with extra rapid hardening cement. The problem is, you know that cement will be mixed at one location and transported to the place where it needs to be used on site. So if extra rapid hardening cement is used, the limitation is by the time you have mixed the cement and the cement sample is reaching the site, it may be getting hardened, which is not advisable. So that is one of the limitations with extra rapid hardening cement. Certain properties of rapid hardening cement is, at the age of 1 or 2 days, strength of extra rapid hardening cement is 25% more than the rapid hardening cement. So that is how the ability of rapid hardening cement, ability to harden, is very high. Next one is a Portland slag cement. In Portland slag cement, a blast furnace slag. Blast furnace slag means, blast furnace is a type of furnace which is used in the steel or iron industry. So a slag or the byproduct obtained in the iron industry, that is the blast furnace slag. Such material will be added into the cement. In Portland slag cement, a blast furnace slag is a non-metallic product consisting essentially of glass containing silicates and aluminosilicates of lime and other bases, and is developed simultaneously with iron. Not needed that much. And the Portland slag cement can be used with all the process, all the purpose where you have to use the ordinary Portland cement. In such situation, a Portland slag cement can also be used. Another important classification of cement is the hydrophobic cement. In hydrophobic cement, the word hydrophobic means it is water repellent. It will not be having any affinity with water. Okay, it will not be having any affinity with water. So certain water repellent chemicals will be introduced in the hydrophobic cement so that there is no problem with water. A hydrophobic cement is prepared from OPC clinker by adding certain water repellent chemicals during the grinding process. So whenever you are grinding the raw materials required, for cement manufacture, you will be adding some water repellent chemicals also. So if the water repellent chemicals are added, over the cement particle, a water repellent coating will be formed. And if the water repellent coating is present, it can prevent the water or moisture from absorbed by the cement. Next one is a sulfate resisting cement. Since OPC is susceptible to the attack of sulfates, a sulfate resisting cement is developed where the surrounding is infected with sulfates. So in some cases, especially in structures constructed near seashores, where there is a chance of presence of sulfate, okay, there is a problem of sulfates reacting with cement, and which will be having a bad effect on the durability of cement. So in such situation, you will be using a sulfate resistant cement so that there is no problem of cement and sulfate being reacting with each other. Sulfate resisting cement can be used in the following condition. When concreting is done for marine structures, I already told you that near to seashore, where foundation soil is infected with sulfate, in marshy soil or sulfate bearing soil, concrete constructions for sewerage treatment, etc. So that is about the sulfate resistant cement. Another important classification of cement is the quick setting cement. Do you know what is meant by setting action? I already told you that setting means the cement paste will lose its plasticity. Which component in cement was responsible for setting action? Saurabh Yadav. Saurabh Yadav is present. Okay, Saurabh is present. Alumina, right. Alumina is the constituent which is responsible for the setting action. So in quick setting cement, as the name indicates, setting process will be very fast, or quickly the cement will be setting. Next one is high alumina cement. You will be adding more alumina content to the cement. In freezing weather, if alumina cement is used, the heat developed on burning, the heat developed on hydration will be more. So that is why you use a high alumina cement. So that is all about the different important. Then you have the colored cement. If you are adding some coloring pigment, there are some other type of cement also which is of not that much importance. You can refer it, you can study it. Then expansive cement. Expansive cement means it's a type of cement where there is no volume change on drying. There is no shrinking or hardening. Okay, such a cement is known as an expansive cement. Then air entraining cement. You will be introducing some air entraining agents in powder form or in the liquid form with OPC clinker. So these are the different types of cement. Okay. So read more on the different types of cement. So we have completed the manufacturing of cement. We have completed the tests of cement. We have completed the different types of cement. Okay. So we are stopping. Is it clear? Please comment your attendance and then we'll stop.